The lockdown was a forced vacation we all got. Introverts were having time of their life while extroverts vented out their frustration through social media, group video calls and completing the task with 200% enthusiasm that our big boss announced on TV. I am neither extrovert or introvert, but I have a sweet middle spot that balances these extreme attributes. The morning in the lockdown would start as usual and would pass by with all morning chores, breakfast, watching news, comparing yesterday's statistics of patient with today's stats, deleting the endless WhatsApp forwards. But the real problem would start post-lunch, the dreading afternoon time. The clock would seem as if it has slowed down. Initially, I tried watching movies, web series, calling and texting friends, napping the whole afternoon, and also tried doing some really unproductive things like refilling the water bottles and keeping them in fridge, cleaning my room, arranging the cupboard just to find a pen drive or a book I thought I had lost it 5 years ago. Eventually, the interest in all these things wore off and now there was nothing new left to do to pass the time. Even that Dalgona coffee trend and the passionate chef in me that told me to try new dishes in new way got bored. The only outing possible was a bike ride, that too for fetching essentials like groceries, veggies and medicines. One fine afternoon, while I was on the verge of dozing into sleep after a heavy lunch, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I picked it up while looking at the number and the voice on the other side said, "Am I talking to Mr. Ashwin Pandey, sir?" Annoyed with the usual mispronunciation of my surname, I said, "Yes, who is this?" And the lady continued with the same boring pitch, starting with her intro and the awesome offer. Wait, the awesome limited time offer of credit card my bank had for me. I let her complete her sales pitch and told no thanks politely and then hung up. I do not remember in my lifetime anyone pronouncing my surname properly unless I would tell them beforehand. It's usually Pandey, Pant, Pandya and every possible combination that starts with PAN except the actual one. I tried to correct some and they in turn tried to correct me that it should be Bund or Pandey. I just can't help but wonder about the audacity they have to tell me how my surname should be. Fun fact, if every time I had a rupee, someone said my surname in wrong way, I would be sitting at a cafe discussing investment in a joint venture of Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk regarding super prime delivery via SpaceX rockets. Enough with the name games. The name is Pant, Ashwin Pant. The next day, around same time in the afternoon, my phone rang and the number seemed to be similar to that one I got call from yesterday. I was about to reject the call, but something struck my mind. I was getting bored, really bored, and the telemarketer would be having a sales target with a potential customer, which is me. So I saw that as an absolute win-win situation. I picked up the call and said, "Hello," and the lady on the other line said, "Am I talking to Mr. Ashwin?" "Yes, it's Ashwin Pant." Pant, emphasizing on my last name, I said. The lady continued with her sales pitch in a very robotic tone. "Sir, we have a limited time offer for credit card just for you, which..." And before she could tell me more details, I said, "Ma'am, can you hold the call for a minute? I need to get my headphones." She must have thought I was keen to listen what the credit card offer she was projecting, but little did she know what was coming next. Just in a minute, I plugged in my headphones and before she could continue with the offer details, I said, "Ma'am, could you please check the spelling of my name in your records? Every time I get call, they mispronounce my name. I think it has got registered in a wrong manner." After listening to this, she might have thought, Yes, this indeed looks like a potential target. And in a very polite manner, she replied, "Sure, sir. Let me read it out for you. It is ASHWI." And I interrupted her one more time and said, No, not like that, ma'am. Please mention each letter like A for Alpha, B for Bravo, C for Charlie, D for Delta. After an awkward pause, she said, "Sir, what is this Alpha Bravo?" To which I replied, "Ma'am, I just want to make sure each letter is properly mentioned and there should not be any problem from bank if you are sending me the credit card with my name incorrectly mentioned on it." Annoyed, yet in an optimistic tone, she said, "Sir, I am familiar with A for apple and B for ball format. Will that do?" And I replied with, "Okay, continue please." And for the next 3 to 4 minutes, she was like A for apple, S for sheep, H for horse, and each time when she would mention this, I would repeat after her for double confirmation. After D for doll or D for dog disagreement at the last letter of my name, the name train finally halted. Sometimes I think what would happen if my name was longer, like Sai Saurabh Kishore Prasad Petroleum Wala, and she had to go through this 35 letter name in this format. Now slightly frustrated, the telemarketer lady tried to bring back her derailed train of credit card offer and said, "Sir, this is a limited time offer just for you, and if you confirm it over this call, we will dispatch it onto your address." This time I pretended I was listening carefully and let her finish and dropped this new question she wasn't really hoping for. I said, "Ma'am, should I sanitize the courier with glycerin based gel type sanitizer or spirit based liquid type one?" She took a moment to register what I just said. "Sir, what courier and what this sanitizer you are talking about? I'm not really getting it." To which I said in a very slow pace, "Ma'am, you just said I will get this credit card delivered at my address. And in this corona pandemic times, we should sanitize everything that comes from outside. Now, the courier will be having documents, user manual and the card. And what if use of sanitizer destroy the important print like password or PIN or just make the card useless? Are you getting my concern?" Here I was taking imaginary delivery of credit card that wasn't even confirmed, let alone dispatch at my address. She kind of fumbled with word and in a broken manner said, "Sir, just spray the outside of the courier with sanitizer and keep it aside for 48 hours and then unpack it." Her voice had such a sense of relief and assurance that I was going to make the order for the card, and in a very polite manner she continued, "Sir, I am now texting you a number. You have to put me on hold and dial that number for confirmation of order of this credit card, and later on we can verify your postal address." The ball was in my court. I had to say something over this, and just like she said, I got a text that had a number and some instructions. Now I couldn't think of any idiotic distraction, that is question, to annoy this telemarketer. She was really winning this time. I thought I had to surrender that time. But, there I got another query to ask. "Ma'am, what do I need to tell the person on this number? What do I say to the person on this line?" To which she instantly replied, "Sir, it's an automated system that recognizes your number that I have processed for this step. Don't worry. Upon getting connected, you will be asked to press 1 from dial pad to confirm the request, and the call will then be discontinued automatically." I took a long breath and started thinking how to dodge this step. At this point, she understood that I was just wasting her time, and that's why she was effectively taking the whole flow of conversation back to the process of request confirmation. Breaking my train of thoughts, she again repeated her sentence. "Sir, dial the number. The automated system will process your request. Dial 1 after the call is connected, and that's it." I waited for a second and said, "Automated system. Interesting. Ma'am, wouldn't it be nice that instead of you going to the office and making the calls yourself, you could just operate the machine to dial a specific customer and it would do the rest? Oh wait, ma'am, are you working from office even in this pandemic situation? Or are you working from home? Isn't this too risky to still travel to workplace? You never know from where you will pick the infection. And there we go, guys. Me 1, telemarketer 0. For the next 20 minutes, I talk about pros and cons of working from home, how technology allows me and my student to be in virtual classroom to learn safely even in this lockdown scenario, statistics of corona at my hometown, possibility of vaccine, and all related possible stuff except for one thing: credit card request confirmation. For the whole time, she tried her best to gently bring back the conversation to the request confirmation, but I would dodge it every time. She tried one more time and said, "Sir, please, could you please confirm the request from that number so that we can proceed to the next step?" And this time I came up with my final weapon: philosophy. Clearing my voice, I said, "Ma'am, do we really need luxuries of credit card, online shopping with it for the things we really don't need right now in these difficult times? People out there are struggling to make their both ends meet, and here we are discussing what sort of discount I will get if I opt for this credit card offer. Shouldn't we all stick to the essentials like groceries, veggies and medicines for now? Am I right or wrong? You tell." And this time it was over for her. She lost her calm and said, "I don't know, sir. I really don't know. Please just tell me if you want this card or not." It was her frustration and annoyance talking this time. She was super nice and polite for the whole time, even when I took the conversation to the every possible irrelevant direction. I was amazed to see the patience she had. So instead of stretching it more, I said, "Ma'am, I'm not really sure whether I should get this credit card for now. Let me think about it. How about this? You call me tomorrow, same time in the afternoon." And she instantly replied, "Okay, sir. Thank you for your valuable time. Have a good day." And even before I could wish her the same, she hung up. As expected, she didn't call. Why would she? Just to discuss about corona patient statistics or side effect of using sanitizer? For a week, no telemarketer called. And one fine day, my luck struck gold. This time, this guy had a loan scheme for me. This time I had a whole lot queries to be asked, like why the rate of interest was so high, if he could lower that for me, how Vijay and Nirav could get so many crores of loan, what do I need to get such amount? My list of questions was endless. I also convinced him that borrowing money when you really don't need it is a bad idea. With enough calls and exploring a whole lot of stuff to discuss, I was able to stretch those calls to almost an hour that were previously ending with no thanks from my side. Eventually, I stopped getting those calls. Maybe the telemarketer banned my number from their list. An old friend of mine called me after many days and said, "Bro, why your number in Truecaller says don't call for credit card loan beside your name?" To which I said, "Long story, bro. Wanna hear it? Wait, let me get my headphones."